Oh, hello, everyone. I admit, I always wanted to be an anime girl. That's literally the title of my song, Anime Girl. So I guess my dream came true. Ha 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 ha. All of a sudden, in a way, today's video kind of hits hard, considering the themes. Trauma aside, let's dive in, shall we? Okay, so real talk, guys. When I first watched Attack on Titan, I never thought it would be about a generations-long political power struggle. I kind of thought it was mostly about, the creepy-ass giants hunting humanity and eating them alive, which was terrifying enough. But the history behind those creepy-ass giants is actually really important. There's the Reese Fritzes, a family of royals, the Yeagers, a family of rebels, and the Ackermans, a family of warriors. I'm gonna trace these three family trees to see who the important figures are of each and how they all intertwine. And yeah, we're gonna keep it anime only again. Oh, and this video will cover up through the end of season 3, so spoilers, but you already knew that, right? Let's start with the oldest family, the Reese Fritz line. Ymir Fritz started it all. When she was a young girl, she came into contact with a mysterious force that granted her the power of the Titans, making her the founding Titan. Her people, the Eldians, were known as subjects of Ymir. According to them, Ymir used her new powers for good, cultivating barren land, building a vast network of roads, that kind of stuff. Think of it as the Titan New Deal. But over in Marley, Eldia's rival nation, the story's a little different. Marleyans say Ymir got her power from the devil of all Earth. Look, I'm not gonna tell you what to believe. Either way, Ymir died 13 years after becoming the founding Titan. Her soul split into 9 distinct Titan shifters to be inherited by 9 Eldians. Eldians, who inherited the shifters, also die after 13 years, thanks to the curse of Ymir. While the other 8 shifters go to the other Eldians, the founding Titan gets passed down through the royal bloodline of the Fritz family. After Ymir died, the 9 shifters used their sweet new Titan powers to pick a fight with the nation of Marley. They won, of course, and established the Eldian Empire across the entire continent. For about 2,000 years, Eldia ran the show, squashing tons of people and entire cultures along the way. The 8 non-founding Titan shifters even started fighting each other for control during the Great Titan War. While it starts as a civil war between Eldian nobility, the Marleyans see their chance. They swoop in, overthrow Eldia, drive out the Eldians, and take control of 7 of the 9 Titans. Karl Fritz. By the time Karl Fritz took the throne, he was sick of all the bullshit. There was just too much bloodshed at the hands of the Titans and between the nations of Eldia and Marley. Long story short, King Karl and his subjects fled to the island of Paradise, leaving the Marleyans to take the continent, along with 7 of the Titans. Oh, how the tables turn. Using his founding Titan, Karl erected 3 sets of gigantic walls around his new Eldian capital to protect them from the outside world. He also wiped his subjects' memories before the walls and vowed to never go to war again. This vow would be forcibly passed to future generations of shifters who used the founding Titan. Some families, like the Ackermans, were immune to the whole memory erasing thing, so the king tried to wipe them out, but we'll get to them in a bit. Finally, Karl also changed the family name from Fritz to Reese so they could live in hiding as nobles, while a false king sat on the throne. Mr. Rod and Uri's father Reese. A few generations later, and we've got Rod and Uri's dad, whose name we don't even know. All we know about this guy is that he ruled as king and was completely brainwashed by Karl's vow to avoid war at all costs. But such is the price of wielding the founding Titan. His sons would beg him to do something about the Titans devouring people. Still, the king was so stubborn about peace that he threw Rod behind bars. At least there's still Yuri. Yuri was just upset as Rod the Titans were eating people left and right, and he wanted to do something about it, so he volunteered to be the next king and founding Titan. But after he did, his will got overwritten by Karl's peaceful vow, just like what happened to his dad. However, Yuri was a very compassionate, pensive king. He still had enough wits to know that Karl's paradise experiment failed. He also ended the persecution of the Ackerman family by appointing Kenny Ackerman as his bodyguard. I guess it's an apology, sort of? Rod Reese. After Yuri took the founding Titan, Rod immediately recognized their father's gaze in his eyes. From there, Rod developed a deep-seated belief that the founding Titan was God and devoted himself to protecting his god. He marries some random lady and they have 5 children: Frida, Erklin, Dirk, Abel, and Florian. But he also has a secret kid with his servant, Alma. He sends Alma and the child Historia to a distant farm. As for Rod's legitimate kids, the only one we care about is Frida. Frida Reese. Since Yuri was too preoccupied with pondering the meaning of life to to get busy and have kids, Rod's eldest, Frida, became the heir to the throne. Her Titan devoured Yuri to become the new founding Titan, as is tradition. And like everyone else post-Carl, Frida's desire to rid the walls of Titans completely vanished when she inherited the founding Titan, as is tradition. Frida would frequently visit Historia at the farm, but even though she loved her, she used the founding Titan's powers to suppress Historia's memories of her. Then, one night, some dude named Grisha Yeager stormed into the Reese's hideout, turned into the attack Titan, and killed Frida and every other member of the Reese family. Well, except Rod. For the first time ever, the founding Titan was no longer within the royal bloodline. So Carl's will is no longer holding the founding Titan hostage, and the Reese family no longer has access to their ancestors' memories of what happened before the wall. Historia Reese. Until Frida's death, Historia lived a tranquil but ridiculously lonely life on the farm. Basically, everyone except Frida largely ignored her or was flat out mean to her, especially her mother. After the massacre, Rod came to fetch Alma and Historia to recreate the Reese household. But Kenny Ackerman and the military police apprehended them first. Kenny killed Alma, but Rod struck a deal. Historia would live, but change her name and enlist as a soldier. And with all the Titans, she'd probably just die there anyway, right? It seemed like Historia, Krista Lenz, sealed her fate when she joined the Scouts. Hey, at least she met her best friend Amir. Fast forward through a lot of stuff, and the Scouts figure everything out. The king is a puppet, the Reeses are the true royal family, and they happen to have a Reese among them. So they convince Historia to become queen once they've overthrown the current government. But before that happens, Kenny kidnaps Historia and Aaron and takes them to Rod Reese. He wants his daughter to eat Aaron and reclaim the founding Titan for the royal bloodline. Historia and Kenny call out Rod on his bullshit. Seriously, what good is the founding Titan if everyone in the bloodline just gets possessed and allows Titans to continue killing everyone? So Historia smashes the syringe of Titan fluid on the ground. In one of the worst best moments of the series, Rod licks some spinal fluid off the ground and transforms into an enormous abnormal Titan. Ugh. I'm sorry, but that part really grossed me out. But also kind of like OP. Historia strikes the killing blow to her father's Titan and uses the opportunity to tell the grateful citizens that she's the true queen. Hooray! I guess. It's all bad anyway. This is all just... So while Historia is the last of the Reese family, there's one more Fritz that I haven't mentioned yet. Dina Fritz. Let's travel back in time and meet another link between the Fritzes and the Yeagers. Back when Carl bailed to Paradise Island, a few descendants of the royal bloodline were left behind in Marley and laid low. Decades after the war, Dina was the last Fritz in Marley. Dina joined the Eldian Restorationists, a rebel group who dreamed of rising up against Marley and, restoring Eldia. And there she met a particularly fiery young rebel named Grisha Yeager. The two got married and had a son, Zeke. With his royal blood, Zeke would lead the charge against Marley. At least that's what his parents wanted. They actually pushed their plan a little too hard. For example, they enlisted him in Marley's child warrior program to steal back one of the Titan shifters. Instead of returning the Eldians to glory, Zeke outs his own parents to the Marleyan government. Dina, Grisha, and their rebel pals get sent to heaven, which means the Marley government dooms them to wandering around Paradise as mindless Titans devouring their own people. Yummy. Dina's fate is even worse. Her Titan eventually eats Carla Yeager, Grisha's second wife, and she's eventually killed by Aaron, her stepson, I guess? It's complicated. So yeah, Grisha Yeager narrowly survives and he becomes a major player in the story. But let's backtrack again for a second, because we gotta talk about the Yeager family. Grisha Yeager. Grisha's a pretty angsty guy, and it all started when he was 11 years old. He and his sister Faye snuck out of the Eldian internment zone because they wanted to see the pretty blimps. Unfortunately, the Marleyan police found them and beat the snot out of Grisha and took Faye away. The police took Grisha back to his parents, and his dad tried to re-indoctrinate Grisha on Marley's version of Eldian history. Eldians are a devil race that deserve to be punished because of their ancestors' crimes. But Grisha ain't having none of that. He found Faye's body the next day. She'd been murdered by the Marleyan police, and that set Grisha on his path. When he got older, he joined a secret rebel group called the Eldian Restorationists, which we've heard about already as part of Dina Fritz's tragic tale. On the island, the guard assigned to Grisha turned out to be the Restorationist longtime mole Aaron Kruger, aka Owl. Oh, and he also had the attack Titan Titan, but his 13 years were just about up. So, Kruger passed the Attack Titan and his mission on to Grisha. Reclaimed the Founding Titan for the Restorationists. From there, Grisha went to live within the walls and play the long game. He works as a doctor, gets remarried, and has another child, Eren. Eventually, as you know, he does fulfill his mission. After his wife gets killed during the Titan attack on Shiganshina, Grisha whisks Eren into the woods, injects him with Titan spinal fluid, and allows Eren to eat him and inherit the Attack and Founding Titans. But before I get to Eren, I gotta mention Zeke real quick. Zeke Yeager. By now you know the Ballad of Zeke. He's got royal blood, he was in Marley's child warrior program, and he ratted his parents out to the government. He is so nice, child of the year. At some point he gets the Beast Titan, but that's all we know right now in the anime. Trust me though, he is super important. There's only one who's maybe more important, and that's his half-brother Eren Yeager, the protagonist. Eren Yeager. When Eren was 10, the Colossal Titan attacked Shiganshina and his mom got eaten. You know this part. This is episode 1. This is the thing that made us all go, oh shit. After living as a refugee of Wall Maria, he joins the Scouts. He only has vague nightmares about his little jaunt in the woods with Grisha. He won't remember exactly what went down for a while. During his first military battle, Eren sacrifices himself to save his pal Armin. But instead of dying, he transforms into a Titan. Nice. At least we've got that skill. Only the Reeses and a few nobles have any idea about Titan shifters, so everyone else sees Eren's cool new trick as a mix of both hopeful and terrifying. But everyone starts to feel better when Eren uses his Titan to plug, some walls and stuff. I mean, there are so many things you can do with the Titan when you think about it, especially in Animal Crossing. Guys, I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing, okay? Clearly, we are right now going through a very specific time. Finally, Eren ends up back at his old home in the basement. Grisha had told him it contained the secret of life in the walls, and wow, it sure did. There's 3 books written by Grisha that explain the history of the Eldians with photographic proof. The military publishes this long-forgotten history in the newspaper, and Karl's secret is officially out. Eren's now able to pick up his old man's memories and realizes he can only use the Founding Titan's powers if he's touching someone with royal blood. After that, he becomes way more composed. And you know what? I'm definitely one of those people that was on the hype train of Eren is way too trigger-happy, loud, and annoying in the first season and stuff like that, but he changes. There's a good character evolution and got a good character arc going. I'm down for that. Well, anyway, with the truth revealed, Eren and the Scouts head out towards the sea and set their sights on Marley. Quick note, we still have a lot to learn about the Ackermans. We do know that the Ackermans were one of the noble families close to the king. They were a family of warriors protecting the king as the king's sword. But once Karl decided to wipe the Eldians' memories, the Ackermans turned their back on him. Like I said before, the Ackermans were immune to the memory loss, so the royal family started persecuting the Ackermans to keep them from spilling the beans. How's that for a loyalty program? Kenny Ackerman. By the time Kenny reached adulthood, the Ackerman family was poor and on the verge of extinction. So what do you do when you hate the royal government? You become a serial killer and brutally murder over 100 members of the military police, of course. I would do that, wouldn't you? Kenny became an urban legend, Kenny the Ripper. But he set his murderous sights even higher on Yuri Reese. Once Kenny got to him, Yuri shot Kenny by apologizing. So instead of killing him, Kenny started working with him, ending the Ackerman persecution. You see, guys, apologies go a long way. The Ripper stopped his murderous spree because someone said, I'm sorry. Sometimes that's all you gotta do, say you're sorry. After Yuri died, Kenny began to wonder if the kind of power and peaceful aura that Yuri had would pass down to anyone who has the Founding Titan. So to get the Titan for himself, he uses his influence to rally his own personal police squad. He also helps Rod track down Eren, but Kenny's crushed when he overhears Rod tell Historia that the Founding Titan's potential can only be fully wielded by the royal bloodline. He gets super pissed, and there's yelling and knives and yeah, you know, Kenny the Ripper stuff. He gets burnt during the battle against Rod's Titan, but he still makes off with one of Rod's syringes. At death's door, Kenny gives the syringe to Levi, his nephew. My favorite. He's a freaking weapon with an apron, and I stand. Soon after Kenny teamed up with Yuri, his sister, Kushel, was working as a prostitute. She got pregnant with a son. A few years later, she died from illness. When Kenny found her rotting body, he also found her son, a starving, half-dead kid who introduced himself as just Levi. To honor his sister, Kenny takes Levi in, but he doesn't tell him he's his uncle. Kenny teaches Levi to survive underground by fighting. Once Kenny is satisfied Levi can hold his own, he abandons him. as you do. Levi forms a gang which eventually runs up against a scout regiment. One of the scouts, Erwin Smith, offers to not press charges against Levi if he joins his regiment. Levi agrees and rises all the way up to the rank of captain. He's incredibly key in getting Historia to be queen and protecting Eren from getting killed and all that fun stuff, plus making sure things are clean, okay? And he's the scout's best fighter, of course. Mikasa is a close second, though. Mikasa Ackerman. How exactly Mikasa fits into Kenny and Levi's family tree is still up for debate. Her dad was an Ackerman, and her mother was the last of the, Oriental clan. Their word, not mine. We'll eventually learn more about her mother's heritage, but Kenny refers to Mikasa's family as the Branch family. Mikasa knows the Ackermans were persecuted, but doesn't know why. When Mikasa was 9, human traffickers broke into her home, killed her parents, and planned to sell Mikasa as a slave. Good thing Eren and Doc Grisha happened to make a house call. Mikasa, the proto-badass that she was, killed 2 of the thugs, awakening a sudden power inside of her. That seems to be an Ackerman signature trait or something. When the dust settled, the Yeager family adopted her and she lived a happy life. Until that whole horrible Shiganshina thing. After that, Mikasa enlisted in the scout regiment along with Eren because she'll be damned if she's going to lose any more family. Sure enough, her Ackerman power kicked in and she turns out to be the best soldier in their class. From here, she basically acts as Eren's personal bodyguard, just like when they were kids. And to me, she's auditioning for the role of waifu and she's winning and she should win and she deserves it, and goddammit Eren. And here's the best part, there's still more that we don't even know. From Zeke to the Ackermans, there's even more lore in Attack on Titan than what we've already seen in the anime. All that's left is for season 4 to drop, like, now. And by now, I mean in like a year. Well, while you're waiting and I'm waiting, you might as well subscribe to Get in the Robot, your anime explainer. I'm Crystal, and thanks for watching.